Welcome, everybody, to the inaugural live episode of They Cast from the Coast Roundtable Discussions. My name is Adam Miles, and I have with me, as always, Tim Johnson and Josh Libert. How the hell are you guys?
Good.
Wicked.
Excellent.
Just excited to be here.
Live.
Live.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. So we got everything set up, and we're doing this, so that's about it. So, for anybody who's unfamiliar, our roundtable episodes slightly different from our general review episodes. We're going to take topics of conversation in the horror universe, the horrorverse, and we're going to talk about them, give our thoughts, and then wrap things up at the end of this. And we'll be putting out regular content as we normally do with our general episodes and reviews, but this is an opportunity for us to jump on more recent news or information and put things out in a, well, obviously in a very quick manner because we're going live. So please bear with us if there are any technical difficulties. This is really the first time that we've been able to go out live such as this, but if we get a good response, we'll continue to do it. What do you guys think? Thumbs up. Thumbs up. Excellent. So what have you been up to, Josh?
Just working away, doing the grind, watching a couple movies, getting the old holly jollies going. Some Christmas horror.
Ooh, I like that. Christmas horror and the holly jollies. Well, I mean, we have been celebrating our December to Dismember, a tradition with Daycast from the Coast where we do celebrate all things Christmas and horror as a wonderful mixture during the month of December. So, first episode was is just getting ready to be released. Actually, will be released later this week, and it's actually, what was the episode that we did, guys? Oh yes, we
Black
revisited
Christmas.
Black Christmas. It's gonna be a fun one. So it's all good. How you been there, Tim?
It's gonna be a fun one. Like we already did it. It was fun.
It was fun, but I mean, it's going to be a fun one for everybody else to enjoy. Is all I'm saying. So
That's true. That's true.
that's right. So what have you been up to, Tim?
Not too unsimilar from Josh. Watching some holiday themed horror movies and the usual editing grind of a cosplay photographer. That's pretty much it.
I hear it.
Saw some pretty good Lord of the Rings ones come out of you earlier.
Yeah, he's been knocking them out pretty damn good. So everybody should be
I'm
happy
trying.
with those, man. Those things are great. So yeah.
I'm
Well,
trying.
well, with that, gentlemen, I think we just need to jump right into some topics of conversation.
Cool.
So the very
Lots of
first
news
one.
today.
Oh yeah, there's lots of news that's come out in the horrorverse, but this first one, it's lovingly considered part of the sci-fi horror genre. This one seems pretty dark, but generally speaking, a lot of people wouldn't consider it to be true horror. But hell, we're all geeks and we love this and we're excited for it. I'm talking about Ghostbusters Afterlife, the third official movie in the series, nothing to do with the remake. The trailer came out. Tim, talk about this for a minute.
Well, when I first saw it, I'm not going to lie, I was extremely disappointed.
Wow.
In the
Yeah.
trailer or the concept?
The trailer, the concept is brilliant. I love it. But I'm watching it the whole time. And yeah, they're setting up the story of this new, kind of chapter in it. And, let me just make it clear. I am not disappointed in this, movie or whatever. Like, I'm super excited to see it. But the trailer just left me kind of meh. Like, we didn't get any musical cues. I was really hoping to hear at least like some version of the Ghostbusters theme song at the end. There was no original cast in it aside from that one little clip you saw for a second where Paul Rudd was showing on the computer. But I don't know, like I said, like the concept and the idea and how they're moving forward seems awesome. Like I'm excited for that. But this trailer just made me feel like, oh, so the original cast is not going to be that big of a deal in it, and we're going to rely on these new characters. And that's fine, I guess, but being such a huge fan of the original, two movies, it's just, I wanted to at least see one of them in the trailer.
Okay.
But
enough.
I've since watched it again a couple times, and like I'm not as disappointed or whatever. But it was just that first initial reaction. I was like, oh, that kind of left me disappointed.
So I broke my rule and watched this trailer. My rule of never watching a trailer.
Oh.
And I'm coming off the high of just watching it about 45 seconds ago, and I liked it. I was excited. I pieced together. I was like, wait, these are like the Ghostbusters offsprings or whatever, I guess.
Yeah.
So it looks good. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fan service, like when they rebooted Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's the Millennium Falcon. Oh, it's the Ecto One, right? And then it's the Ghost Trap. Oh, it's the Ghost Trap. So I think we'll see a lot of that kind of pandering to the audience, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
No.
But it looks like a solid concept, and I'm sure it will probably be a trash movie that we'll walk away from and enjoy parts of, just like Star Wars.
Well, to be fair, you actually brought up a really good point. That first trailer is not unlike the first trailer for The Force Awakens.
Right.
Yeah, okay. All right.
So you'll walk away with a couple scenes, you're like, fuck, that was good, that was excellent fan service.
Yeah.
But as a totality, you're never going to be able to meet up to the 80s classic, right? And that's just the short and tall of it.
But the cool thing is that this sequel,
yeah,
or soft reboot, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, it's being handled by Jason Reitman, who's Ivan Reitman's son. What?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who handles it. I'm just saying it's not going to be 80s Ghostbusters, just like Star Wars now. It could have had George Lucas front and center. It's still not going to be original Star Wars. It is what it is. It's new content to get new generations into the franchise and sell little Ecto One toys.
But I'm pretty fucking cool with that. Let's be straightforward. Let's just be 100% straightforward. The Ghostbusters franchise has always been a fantastic thing to just enjoy. In fact, out of excitement for this new Ghostbusters movie, Ghostbusters Afterlife, as it's so subtitled, I sat down and watched the first two Ghostbusters again since the trailer came out, just because I just wanted to, get back into the swing of it and kind of get the groove back for it. But I agree with a lot of the sentiments.
Why? It doesn't come out until next year. You don't need to
matter.
swing
I'm going to watch it
yes.
many, many more times by then, so it doesn't really matter. But interestingly enough, I want to talk about the actual trailer and what we saw here for a couple minutes. I know there's tons of breakdowns and stuff, but as soon as I first seen the trailer, I started jotting down some notes because there was some very interesting things that I didn't quite pick up on right off the bat, or I went back and I rewatched it again and I started picking up on things, and I had to Google one or two things just to confirm my suspicions. But obviously what we're looking at is Egon's family. The curly haired one, which really reminds us of Egon, got like the little curl down the front with the glasses, says that it's only her mother and her brother. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. So it's, we don't know what the father is, but it's obviously Egon's direct daughter and children, or grandchildren.
Or it's not Egon's daughter, and the dad was Egon's son who died.
Very true. Could very well be.
Yeah, take that theory, bitch.
Take that theory. That's right. But I loved pointing out some more of the fan service that you were kind of talking about there, Josh. The one thing that made me smile heavily was in the one scene when the little girl goes down into like below the barn, and you see like the lights come on, and you see like a collection of like petri dishes and shit. And it's like, oh look, it's his spores and molds and stuff like this, right? It's collection that he talks about in the other movies. And they're all like individually named and stuff. I thought it was great. I smiled big time when I saw that. But the one thing that really stood out to me was in the trailer, they show like the mine, because you got like the mine shaft, and then there was this one piece of it where it was a big gate, and it said Shandor Mining Corporation. And I knew that the name sounded familiar, so when I went back and I watched the movies, it was like, oh my gosh, it's Ivo Shandor. Ivo Shandor was the architect who had built the building at 550 or 55 Central Park West, Dana's building. That was the beacon for the undead. So it's like they're talking in the original movie about the fact that there are all these materials that have been used, really odd materials, to build this. And now in this sequel, we have a mining company owned by the architect. And obviously Egon, what the hell? Egon was
All right,
outside,
send
living in
us.
this
We're
town.
done. We're done. We're
Yeah,
done.
we're done. That's
You
it.
fucked it up. You fucked it up. You
Of
fucked it
course I
up.
did.
We
But
got the
Egon
stream.
obviously was in this town researching either the materials that had been used or otherwise because of whatever paranormal properties that they obviously had, which were very prominent in the first movie. And now there's another theory that I'm going to fall into too. I believe that there was a containment unit that was built there.
Where? In the mine?
Not
No, in the
necessarily
barn. I
below the
think it's.
mine, below the barn.
I think when they shut down Ghostbusters,
Yeah.
Egon took the containment unit, and
Yeah.
it's what 30 years old,
Yeah.
and no one's been taking care of it for however long, and that's what all the seismic shit is, and all the ghosts come out, and you know what I mean?
Well, we saw a big green spike come up out of the well or the mine or whatever. You think that's Slimer?
Oh, most
Because
likely.
that's what my mind obviously goes to first off.
But I mean, the green wasn't the only, like Slimer wasn't the only green thing. But
Sure.
I mean, if you are going along the lines of like fan service or whatever, yeah,
Right.
then it probably is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the containment unit's built in the barn, and I told Adam this last night. Did you see how he's like stole my theory?
It makes sense. It makes sense.
I mean,
but I'm falling
to
on
be
it.
fair, Adam, you
to be
did
fair.
say right after I said it. Yeah, I kind of thought that too.
Yeah, it's true.
So,
but yes, okay. Tim did mention it too last night, so yes, yay, Tim.
And then we see what looks like Zool, the dog. Not Zool.
Oh,
I
one
guess
of
the dogs, the hell, or
dogs,
demon beasts or
whatever
whatever.
called,
It
devil
like
dogs.
walks on top of the front of that car, and you can see its
Yeah.
leg and stuff. So we're obviously getting something else having to do with the cult of Gozer and you know the demon creatures and shit. So.
Fuck, wouldn't I love a Rick Moranis cameo?
Oh man.
Do you think he's going to be?
I don't think.
I don't.
Although
think so.
I did hear that he's recently willing to get back into acting. His kids are all grown up, and he's like ready to get back on the horse. But
Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money. That's what he needs to do. Dark Helmet. Just drop
Can you
it off
imagine?
there. That'd be amazing.
That would be amazing.
That it is.
he's so old, the creator of that, Mel.
Yeah,
Isn't he in like his 90s?
he is. But I mean, his son is a prolific writer now, Max Brooks, the guy who
Yeah.
wrote like World War Z and you know,
Yeah.
surviving a zombie apocalypse and all this kind of shit. So you never know. World War Z was a pretty good book, and so was the other one. So yeah, he could do it. Let's move on to the next topic, shall we, gentlemen? Announced The Conjuring 3, titled The Conjuring. The Devil Made Me Do It. This is interesting.
But wasn't the second one just called The Conjuring 2?
Yes, it was. It was.
Yeah.
So why would all of a sudden they just like change their form? Like, I mean, as exciting as The Conjuring 3 sounds,
Because
like,
realistically, Tim, this isn't the Conjuring series. They do a multi-universe thing, and that's all one coherent thing. They've done The Nun. They've done all these other films that are just like one sequence. So it's not like they're disrupting the sequence.
no. But what I'm saying is, as far as continuity with titles,
Yeah.
right? They should have called it The Conjuring something, right? Instead of just calling it The Conjuring 2. Like, it would have been cooler. And then, you know, like, I don't have a problem with the title. Whatever. The Devil Made Me Do It. Cool. I'm intrigued. But it's just...
Yeah.
It's like you got Star Wars.
Yeah.
And then you got Star Wars 2.
Yeah.
And then you got Star Wars Return of the Jedi. Like, do you see what I mean? Like, it sounds dumb. It's dumb.
Okay. Yeah, no, I can get behind that. I mean, especially because this is now the 7th in the Conjuring universe, is what it's going to be. This is going to be the 7th movie that exists in this universe. The 3rd direct Conjuring movie itself, obviously.
Yeah.
But the synopsis is interesting. The Devil Made Me Do It reveals a chilling story of terror, murder, and unknown evil that shocked even experienced real-life paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. One of the most sensational cases from their files, it starts with a fight for the soul of a young boy and then takes them beyond anything they'd ever seen before to mark the first time in United States history that a murder suspect would claim demonic possession as a defense.
So this is about the Amityville horror, right?
I don't know, because
I don't think
Conjuring
it's
2
Amityville.
No?
had that sequence at the start that
Yeah,
was
'cause-
about, but it could. It could
I
be.
mean, it could, but to my knowledge, the Warrens weren't involved with the DeFeo boy himself in any way.
But
They
isn't
came
that
after
like the
fact.
iconic phrase from that novel and from that series?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I thought that was like the tagline almost for the Amityville horror series. That he went through with like the shotgun and blew his whole family apart,
Yeah.
and then said the devil made me do it. Right?
Devil made me do it. That's right. But I mean, I don't know if it ever necessarily went into, when it went to trial, that he stated it was, that's what his defense was.
No.
But I don't know.
That's the first thing I think of, anyways. And we know that they have a connection to that because there's been a couple clips and mentions of that. So it makes me almost think, is this going to be a prequel or is it going to be a continuation?
Yeah. I'm gonna say this is probably a story that takes place in the later years of Ed and Lorraine Warren's, adventures as the paranormal investigators and demonologists and stuff. So we'll have to wait and see anyway. But okay.
I think Lorraine just recently died too this year.
She did.
No, it was.
Well, it was last year.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was last year. And Ed was a few years before that.
Yeah. Because Lorraine's had cameos in previous Conjuring movies.
Yeah, she did. She was in like one of the
auditoriums or whatever, like the
yeah. Well, it'll be interesting anyway. I mean, this doesn't really give us a lot to go with, so I guess we'll just have to see where this one goes. And
just more content for the expanded universe. I'm always down with that.
That's about it. So let's move on to the next topic, shall we, gentlemen? The Grudge 2020. The reboot of the Grudge series, which the second trailer was released like yesterday or today.
I think it was today.
I think it was today as well.
I saw it today.
Yeah, that's when I watched it. Was today too.
Yeah.
What'd you think, Tim?
Okay, so I was on the fence when I heard that, when it was announced originally. I was a big fan of The Grudge, and I even watched the original that The Grudge is based on, Ju-On. And I don't know, like I saw it at a time where, hey, this is cool, right? I liked it. Haven't watched it many times since, but I don't hate it. So when I heard that they were going to do it, I was like, okay, cool. And then I heard that Lynn Shane was attached, and I love her. I was okay. And then today I saw the trailer, and I saw that it was a Red Band trailer, so I was like, ooh. And I want to know what the fuck is up. You know what I mean? Like I'm interested. 'Cause it seems that like it's going to have more of like a police investigation kind of angle, as opposed to this just happening to someone that interacted with the house. Like do you know what I mean? Like the authorities are going to be involved a little bit more. Because you read the little synopsis that's on Bloody Disgusting. It's about a detective who investigates a series of suspicious deaths, all stemming from one house. Once she enters, the curse latches onto her and won't let go. Awesome. So it almost doesn't even sound like it's a reboot. Like it could just be a continuation of this fucking house. You know what I mean? Or it could be another Grudge-like situation. So I'm intrigued. And the trailer was kind of dope.
It was pretty damn bloody. Yeah, I mean, for a Red Band trailer, it was damn bloody. There were scenes of people being hacksawed and all kinds of shit.
But Red Band, you get away with anything, right?
That's right. Josh, what'd you think of it?
Well, Raimi is producing, so I'll watch it and I'll buy it, whatever. I'm never a fan of when Raimi puts his resources and time into anything that's not Evil Dead. So stop doing that.
Oh,
With
come
that
on.
being
Let the
said-
man create. Let the man create.
Wow.
Stop
Yeah,
putting
I did watch
fucking
this
baby
trailer
in a
as well.
corner.
Yeah, I did watch this trailer as well. So, like I said, I'll watch it. I don't know if it really has got me super excited. The Grudge, The Ring. You mentioned the original Japanese versions. I'm not a huge fan of these movies. That stylized kind of flickering black and white beastie coming at you.
Early 2000s J horror, basically Japanese
Right,
horror.
right. I'm more of a creature feature guy, but I'm sure it'll be good.
Okay. Really, this I have some hope for this one. I didn't think too much of it until I seen the Red Band trailer. The first trailer that was released, kind of like a teaser almost. Yeah, it showed more of the investigative cop background, like it kind of discusses. But this one here, and Tim, I 100% agree. Lin Shaye is awesome. I love her in the Insidious flicks. And actually, my favorite from the Insidious flicks is the one, The Last Key, which
Yeah,
is like very her centric,
Yeah.
and it was the best one in the series in my opinion. And I feel bad because I only recently watched that one on a business trip. I had held off for so long, and I realized, hey, yeah, I own this movie, so I watched it, and blew me away. It was the best one in the series. And so to see her in like this in the trailer, and she's like bug fucking nuts crazy, covered in like blood and shit, and screaming her head off, I'm like sold right off the bat. Like I'm sold. And the fact that she's talking about like her husband or whatever, and her husband's like this rotting character in the fucking chair in the other room that the cop like happens upon and shit. Yeah, I think the trailer, the Red Band that we saw, the first bit of it is like a clip, almost like what they did with the It Chapter 2 trailer when it first came out. It was like a clip followed by some quick sequences, and I think that it looks like this is where the grudge occurs, and it like attaches itself to the investigator or the detective. So it's kind of giving us a glimpses to, what we're going to see. So I like it. I I'm on board. I can't wait to see it, and I know for a fact that there is a shit ton of practical effects that were put into this movie too.
Well, Sam Raimi producing, I mean, it's almost a given.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is, okay, so I'm still on Bloody Disgusting, just reading about it or whatever, and yeah, it says right there with the new Red Band trailer for the sequel slash reboot. So it is going to be a sequel, which is awesome. And it comes out like next month.
Yeah, January.
Yeah, January 3rd.
Yeah.
So that's literally like what, 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I kind of like the fact that they haven't been overhyping it then. You've seen one trailer, and then you've seen the Red Band trailer, and it's not like it's in every ad floating around the internet and there's tons of articles and stuff released about it.
Yeah.
The less I know, the better at this point. I'm intrigued by the trailer.
Yeah.
So, definitely
Agreed.
going to see this one.
Who puts it at Columbia Pictures?
Yep.
Columbia. Yeah. Excellent. Anything else you guys want to add to this one?
No.
Keep it rolling.
Let's
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up. And the next one, this is a topic that comes from Josh's heart. The Evil Dead 2 board game, which originally fell into obscurity and a lot of bullshit because apparently the original people that were putting it out scammed a whole fuckload of people. Josh,
what happened?
Tell us the whole story. Yeah, tell us the story.
So, Space Goat, which has had the licensing for Evil Dead 2 for years and years, they worked with Dark Horse to throw out hundreds of comics, which expanded the expanded universe of the Evil Dead canon. They put up a Kickstarter for an Evil Dead 2 board game, which blew up, hit well over $2 million in backer sales, and then they led people on for 3 years and pretty much just stopped replying to everything, and then let Kickstarter die out, and basically no one got their game. So people that backed $400 or $500 to get like the premium edition, they had all these excellent add-ons. They contacted the fellow who owns the land where the Evil Dead cabin that sold the original wood used for the cabin to produce dice and all these different plaques and stuff. So they had a source of original wood cabin dice that they were including. The guy who owned it, Sean, who owned this company, Space Goat, which ripped everybody off, he's like selling all of these extra add-ons that people have already paid for on eBay for like $200-300. So if you want a set of the dice that someone else is owed that they already paid for, you can get them, but it's just malarkey. So basically what happened after 2 or 3 years of everyone not getting their game, this new company, Jasco, stepped in and said, listen, we want to resurrect this. We want to kind of build this game back. And what we're going to do is we're going to hold a Kickstarter. And if we're successful, if we sell X amount of games, which was like whatever their total was, 150,000 or something like that, if we reach this goal, not only are we going to give you all the game, anyone who backed the original game is going to get a free copy. So this went on for about 6 or 7 months, kicking up the Kickstarter and promoting it and stuff. And not many people really thought it was going to launch. Even up to the last couple hours, it was waiting to get up and over that threshold. Because at the end of the day, all the people that were fans of Evil Dead already backed this game. So anyways, luckily, it did succeed. And they're staying true to their promise. So people that backed the original game are going to see a copy of this newly regenerated game from Jasco and probably like April or May.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's definitely a feel-good story for people that got ripped off. I know I definitely sunk a lot of money into the original Kickstarter to try and get some of those cool features. So at least to get something for our time and effort is amazing on these guys' behalf for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So is there anything that's going to happen to the original guy, the Space Goat fucker?
So here's the problem with the Kickstarter policy.
They found him and he's dead.
Well, if I tell you right now, if
that happens, I'm sorry.
Get a hold of him, he is a brave man because I guess he had like booths set up for Comic-Con and stuff, and there were people like literally waiting at his booth to just fucking beat the shit out of him, and he never showed up. But he basically stole like $2 million. Like it was a huge heist he pulled.
Cocaine off of a hooker's ass right now with it.
Right? So, yeah.
Wow.
What a pathetic piece of
but
shit.
With the terms and service of Kickstarter, the way it works is you aren't promised anything at the end of the day. You just have to rely on the fact that the people doing it are
going
reliable.
on supply, yeah.
And seeing as this company's had the license for over a decade and has been producing things for over a decade with this license, no one thought anything of it.
Wow.
Well, that's absolute horseshit. So Space Goat, you're a bunch of fucking idiots, and nobody likes you, and we hope something bad happens to you. So, fuck off. Well, that sucks,
now,
but
Jasco Games,
good story.
You're good people.
Yeah, Jasco Games, good for you. I applaud the fact that you guys came out with that. And Josh, you're happy. You're getting something.
Yeah. I mean, I would have loved to have all the extra add-ons, but the fact that I'm getting anything at this point is great.
Well, we're going to have to set up a game night when you get it. And,
most definitely.
Maybe we'll record the unboxing. You can record an unboxing of it, and we'll do a game night when it happens. Excellent. Okay. Well, good news on that. And that just kind of leads us into a little bit more discussion on Evil Dead, though, because as we have recently heard, there's talks of a new Evil Dead movie. This is interesting.
Bruce does this every year. Every fucking year Bruce does this to me. And he's such a son of a bitch, and he knows he's doing it. Whether or not there's anything even remotely in production is beyond me. Very unlikely. But he pulls these strings, he does the interviews, and he just knows how to troll people. He is a professional troll, Bruce Campbell.
I love the guy, but you're right. He is a professional troll.
And I was thinking about it, and it's interesting talking about the comics, how much expanded lore and how much they could use in a film. It'd be interesting to see what they end up doing with any sort of storyline, if they want to continue with the series that was done, if they want to go with the reboot that they did, or if they want to stick with right after Army of Darkness. There's lots of trailing ends that they could use, and it'd just be interesting to see where they end up.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope that they just make it all one thing. Like, I already look at it as one thing.
Yeah.
I mean, even though you got the movie series, and then you got the reboot sequel, and then you got Ash versus Evil Dead. Like, they're all the same thing, but because the way the franchise is set up is it's all magic and wormholes and like different threads of reality and shit. I would love to see it all just come together as one. And I think it'd be really cool to see Ash working with what's her name?
Mia.
Yeah.
Mia. Yeah.
It's not bad. I mean, we've said on the show many times that we have lots of love for Fede Alvarez's 2013 Evil Dead. It's a great reboot, as it were. But the more and more you watch it, and the more and more you dig into the relevance of what you see on the screen,
it's not a reboot.
it's not a reboot. It's something else that exists in the Evil Dead universe, and he can get away with that because you've got Raimi's car. You've got, all kinds of shit that just point to the fact that this all exists. And you have what was originally written in the script was at the end of the movie, Bruce Campbell was supposed to appear driving up the road. They canceled that. They changed it. And in the extended cut ending, it's just another older man that drives up and picks her up. But, I mean, we all know, you watch right to the end of the credits, it's Bruce Campbell. Appears,
You get a little cameo saying groovy.
Exactly, right? Yeah. And I love, and no matter what, when you're my favorite thing about the credits in the remake was always the fact that it's the original recordings of the tape and him reading them.
Yeah.
It's just his voice. And I sat through the entire credits in the movie theater waiting for Bruce Campbell to appear at the end or something to happen, and just listening to the credits and the audio and stuff, right? So it's wonderful. It would do very well, and I love the 2013 version, and I think that Mia and Ash, or just even a continuation of Mia, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Just continue her story. She was great.
Just continue the universe, and especially where they don't have a comic series anymore, because Space Code is a bunch of dick flickers. They need something to expand this universe now that it's kind of been cut dead with the Stars series.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing was they shouldn't have went on Stars. They should have went on Netflix.
Yeah. I really wish that when they had announced that the series was being canceled, that Raimi had shopped it to Netflix before saying anything.
Because the benefit of them going to Netflix is Netflix has the money to back it up, whereas Stars is one of those pay-per-view channels, is it not? Yeah.
It's not even available anywhere outside of the U.S.
Yeah,
so any fans in the UK, Australia, and in Canada, if you have some insane service provider that will charge you fucking $40 a month to watch Evil Dead, I mean...
No, I just downloaded it. I live in Canada. I couldn't, you know what I mean? I wanted to support the show financially, but... they didn't leave me a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Don't get me wrong, I've bought every season on DVD, despite the fact that it's easily available on Netflix, downloading, whatever, to still support the company, so to speak, but yeah.
Okay. So there's lots of theories about where Evil Dead could go. And like you said, every year Bruce Campbell trolls the world with this kind of shit.
Oh, fuck, man.
We'll see. We'll see. Hopefully it comes together.
What else we got on the docket there, Adam?
Moving on. Yeah, so another trailer that was brought to our attention by a few people, but Josh, you mentioned that you really wanted to talk about this, so I put it out there. The Killer Sofa. What the fuck did I watch, Josh? What the fuck did you make me watch?
This is my kind of horror film. We talk about me not liking fucking classic films that any horror aficionado should like. This is why. Because this is my horror film. I will sit down and I will watch this 10, 20 times without doubt. Because I'll watch it and it'll be so absurd that I'll have to tell someone, no, you need to come here and watch this. You need to see this movie about a fucking recliner that is possessed by the devil.
That fucking eats people and murders people. Okay, I'm watching the trailer, and this thing not only murders people, but there's scenes of it dumping people's bodies over a balcony.
Oh, fuck.
What's it called? I'm looking it up right now.
Killer
Sofa.
Killer Sofa.
Okay, Tim,
it's on YouTube, yeah?
Tim hasn't. Yeah, it's on YouTube. Tim hasn't watched this yet, so we're gonna have to get Tim's reaction to this live. Okay.
Right, so, I'll tell you when I hit start.
So this is my kind of film. These creature features that are just absurd. That
get behind that. I enjoy movies like that. Like I was one of the first people that I know to watch the one Rubber, the one with the
Yep.
tire that comes
Yeah.
fucking sentient and starts murdering people. I like that kind of shit, and I'll watch it all day, every day. But man, this really like. I'm sitting here trying to figure out the trailer, and there's even one scene where somebody's got like a reciprocating saw, and I'm like,
Yeah.
is it just that everybody's whacked and there's actually somebody living in the fucking chair or something like this? Because like all of a
Yeah.
sudden it looks like it's got hands and shit, and it's like,
I don't think though. I hope not.
yeah, I hope
All
not
right,
either.
I'm pressing play.
All right.
All right, here we
Press
go.
play. Here's Tim.
It's got fucking like eyes and shit.
They're like buttons, but they're eyes.
But do you
Yeah.
remember when you were like 4 years old and you looked at the sofa in the dark and you saw the eyes? It's like that's.
No.
I did.
He's killing people with fucking springs.
Fuck.
He threw a body over the fucking balcony.
That's what
Right?
I'm
Looking out the window and shit.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like there's somebody staring at it. It's like staring at him out the fucking window. It's only a short trailer too. It's like a minute 30 or some shit, but it's more than enough.
Yeah.
It's standing up.
Oh fuck.
Wow.
It's like Ted Bundy's recliner or something.
Oh my gosh, it would be like a great like episode of the old TV series Friday the 13th, the series.
Yeah.
All, like,
Oh yeah. With like
possessed
the
items
curiosity
and
shop.
The curiosity shop. So it was like this was Ed Gein's sofa. The recliner. He made it himself, and it's it's the human flesh fucking
Right
recliner.
next to Manson's nightstand.
Yeah.
So that was.
So how
fucking,
can you not enjoy a film like that?
Like I'm gonna watch it because do you want to know? It reminded me of a Trauma movie.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
mean
what
they
reminded me
pull
of
that kind of shit
Trauma
together.
movie.
I mean, Trauma infamously has movies like The Killer Condom.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see similarities to it. So.
That's a watch party film if I ever saw it.
Oh, yeah, it's probably gonna have to be a watch party film, isn't it? We're gonna have to watch this one and. Wow.
Anyways, that's all I wanted to talk about. Just wanted to bring some light to this excellent film in production. Probably the best film of 2020.
Yeah.
Wow. Best film of 2020. Josh calls it right now. No, not that it's gonna end up on Rotten Tomatoes with a fucking 0.
It's silly, but whatever.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
It looks fun.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Something else that Josh brought up was interesting. The fact that there's an auction going on in the UK right now with some very important memorabilia that's included in. Most importantly, Jack Torrance's axe from The Shining.
Yeah.
That is insane.
What?
That belongs in a museum.
That shit does. That's iconic.
Yeah, that belongs in the Smithsonian or Museum of Pop Culture or something. Like, that should not be in a private collection, in my opinion. But
There are very few weapons, like general off-the-shelf items that are used as weapons in a movie that are that iconic.
no, for sure.
So it does belong in a museum. That's the kind of thing that would preferably be in like a history, film and television arts history museum of some kind for people to just come in and see. But just as importantly as that, in the same auction, Freddy's glove from Freddy vs. Jason. Not
So a
like
little less
the original
iconic.
glove.
I mean, it's not the original or anything, but it's still an amazing prop for sure.
Yeah.
With so many films, there's obviously a lot of screen used and on-set claws.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, I wouldn't say one of, but it's definitely an iconic piece.
Well, I mean, going up for public auction, it's a screen used Robert Englund worn glove from a movie that everybody who knows what the fuck horror is has ever seen.
Yep.
So right there, right then and there.
I can say my glove is Robert Englund worn.
Freddie England.
Tried it on.
He did try it on, didn't he?
He did. So mine's technically a Robert Englund worn as well.
Nice. Yeah, you need another one though, because that one's signed. We can't use that for anything.
Yeah,
that's
true.
that's too precious. So Oh wow. Oh wow. So yeah, so those two items are up in auction, and hopefully they'll go to somebody who will donate them or put them up in a place. Like sometimes when some of these high end collectors get them, they actually have them stored at museums, or they loan them to museums because the museums
Yeah.
will look after them and care for them where they necessarily can't. And so donate them to be used in a museum anyway. So
Nah, fuck that. If I had the money and I'd buy it, I'd keep it for myself.
I'd fucking beat down some doors with the axe and carving up some bitches
Just
with
using
the
it to
knives.
flop wood up, eh?
That's right. That's right. Excellent.
I mean, if you got the money to buy that, you should probably go and buy a whole bunch of doors and just set them up in like a warehouse in a door frames and just smash the shit out of them with it.
Rage room style? Is that what you're saying?
That's,
You're
I
gonna go
think
into rage
that's what
room
I
and
would do.
get
If like if
bunches
I
of
had millions and millions of dollars and I can afford the axe from The Shining, I would definitely rent a warehouse, get a carpenter to set up a couple hundred doors and door frames, and just smash through them with the axe.
and record every single one of them
Yeah.
and do it. Here's
And
Johnny.
then,
with
like,
every
you
And
gotta,
single
here's
like,
one.
Johnny
peer
through every
through.
door. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're paying Tim
Yeah.
$5 an hour to write red rum really shittily on every
Yeah.
door just to make sure. My arm hurts. Oh man. Anything else you guys want to talk about tonight?
I do. I
Tim.
do have something. I forgot to mention it earlier when we were talking about it, but so earlier today there was a trailer for Resident Evil 3, which was cool,
Yeah, the Resident Evil 3 remake.
which is awesome. I love that they're remaking and updating all these old Resident Evil games. But there was another trailer released today that was Ilphonic. They're one of the companies that one of the developers that worked on Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
They released Predator Hunting Grounds, coming out for PlayStation 4 and PC. And I'm assuming Xbox, but for some reason it just says in the title PS4 and PC. It's coming out April 24th, and it totally reminds me of Friday the 13th. Like, all these people in the woods, and someone gets to be the predator, and I guess there's a lot of customization between the hunter and a scout and a berserker, and it's violent as fuck. And it looks awesome. It
Nice.
looks awesome.
Nice. Okay. I'm
I
gonna
don't know
have to check
about that
that
one,
out.
but I'm definitely interested in the remake for an updated RE3.
That wasn't what I was talking about.
No, they did a very good job on the RE2 for sure.
No, they did, and Resident Evil 1 was awesome, and like I said, one of the best horror experiences of my life was playing Resident Evil 7 in VR. Like it was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
so
Resident Evil 7 is one of my favorite games of all time.
It made me so scared. After I would be done playing, and I'd be in real life. I had to walk up to the store or something. Like, I'm constantly right, like, because that game just gets you on edge, right? So
yeah. So okay, so Predator. What's the name of the game again?
Predator Hunting Grounds.
Hunting Grounds. Okay, I'll have to look that one up because I did see something get released about a Predator or something or other, and it was like fans should be happy with this, and I didn't get a chance because we were getting ready to record tonight.
It is a PS4 exclusive, but you can get it on PC because it's yeah, and they joined forces with Ilphonic. Like I said, they're one of the developers that worked on Friday the 13th, the game.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Moving on to the next franchise, because as we know, Friday the 13th is kind of fuckered right now when it comes to the legal aspects. Yeah. However, you bring up something else, though, having to do with that. We did get note the other day that they're expecting springtime, like April, May time period or something like this, to have some sort of a closing judgment on the whole rights issue with Friday the 13th.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah. Well, same here, but still. Oh, well. All right, gentlemen. Anything else, Josh? Tim?
No.
You kind of put me on the spot there, bud. But
yeah, of course.
Yeah. No.
That's what it's like in a live episode.
No, No, hey, there was, and the cool thing is the majority of this shit is like from today.
Yeah, for
You know
sure.
what I mean? Like that's awesome. Um, and I also think it's really cool that our first live show actually went with no hiccups. Knocking on wood.
From what I can see, you are correct. So
Yeah,
you
I
know
don't
what?
think
This
the
is good.
stream cut out.
No, everything looks good. So leave some comments for us, everybody, and don't forget to share and subscribe. Check us out on YouTube with our normal videos, and we'll be posting these live links to the Misunderstood Art Company and sharing them out left, right, and center. So we'll probably be doing these fairly regularly then, if that's the case. And give us some information. You guys wanted us to talk about a particular topic? Let us know, and we'll hook everybody up with our opinion, as it were, and our wonderful insights.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put Tim on the spot as many times as I possibly can.
Yeah, but you notice that it only lasted a second, and then I had
Yeah,
whatever.
absolutely, absolutely. So, gentlemen, it's time to wrap it up for the night and complete our first live webcast from the Cast from the Coast. So, until next time, Josh.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animals.
Nice. Tim.
Stay spooky, everybody.
Stay spooky, he says. I love it, Tim. I love it. Have a
I've
good
been
night,
saying
everybody.
it for years.
I know. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.